Welcome back, everybody. We are excited to have Liz join us this week. Liz is one of our newer leaders, and she does the high school girls. So we're excited to get to know a little bit more about Liz and how God's been working in her life. But before we do that, we're going to see how much Liz knows about you. So we're going to do this little PowerPoint game we put together here. Is that showing up on your screen for you, Liz?
It is.
All right, so we're going to figure out how much Liz knows about Gen Z culture. So we're going to start off with some drinks and slang here first, Liz. So what does it mean to spill the tea?
Ooh, that is gossip.
Gossip. Okay, there we go. Right, to tell the truth about somebody, usually in gossip. All right, you're 1 for 1, Liz. Good job. What does it mean if they need milk? Give that voice some milk.
Don't know that one.
No?
No.
That's a famous internet video one as well. They need some help. All right. On to dance moves, Liz. How up are you on your dance moves here?
0.
We'll start with an older one. What is the name of this dance?
Oh, floss.
The floss. Way to go, Liz. 2 for 3. 2 for 3. All right, this is a newer one. I don't know if you'll get this one or not. What's the name of this dance here?
TikTok, something. Is it a city?
No.
No, I don't know then.
You don't know that one?
No.
All right. That was the Renegade.
Oh, no, I would have never got that.
And I don't know if you saw the name, but do you know who the TikToker was?
I don't. No.
Oh.
Who was it?
Charlie, I think it's D'Amelio, I think is how you pronounce the last name. I don't know for sure.
All I know is that my students do this as they're sitting in their desks.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they call each one, but they're all different. So.
Yeah, as they're not on their phones, right?
Right, yeah. And they're not raising their hand to ask me a question.
All right, last one. What are these guys famous for?
No idea.
No idea?
No idea.
Do I help if I tell you that they're dude perfect?
Nope.
They're famous for the YouTube trick shot videos.
Oh.
I don't know if you've ever seen those or not. They're pretty humorous. They do all sorts of like different sports trick shots and like I'm sure you get this one all the time, the water bottle flips.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They do them like from the top of buildings into cup holders and crazy things like that.
Onto the board. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Onto my desk. Mm-hmm. Got it.
All right. Well, I think you win 3 for 5 there. Not too bad, Liz. Not too bad.
All right.
So we wanted to take some time with Liz particularly today. For those of you that don't know, Liz is a high school teacher. What subject do you teach, Liz?
Social studies. So I have primarily world history, and then I do psychology. I love psych.
Okay, nice. So what got you into teaching, and particularly into teaching and working with high schoolers?
Ooh. Confession time. I did not want to be a teacher. First, I wanted to be a vet. And then God was like, nope, you're not doing that. And so I was like, all right, I'll try this history thing. And then I got a history degree and said, this is worthless. What do I do with this? And so I had just gotten married, and my husband said, go use your history degree. Figure out what you want to do. So I did. I started subbing, and I subbed K-12. And I quickly learned that itty bitties are not in my wheelhouse. And I adored high school. And I really kind of like the older middle school too. 7th, 8th is cool. Yeah. But high school, I fell in love with it. So I went back and I got my teaching degree. And I did that in a accelerated master's program so I could start teaching. I have actually only been teaching for 5 years.
Oh, okay.
So I was in my 30s before I became a full-time teacher.
All right. How long did you sub for?
7 years.
Wow.
I was going through school, and then I'm a girl that teaches social studies. So most of you probably know that there's not a lot of girl social studies teachers. Yeah. So it was kind of I had to break into that non-coaching male world of social studies.
Yes.
So,
It's usually all the football coaches and basketball coaches that teach that, right?
it still is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, all right. So how has this quarantine changed everything for you as a teacher? I mean, obviously the kids know kind of the logistics of everything that has changed and how it's been harder on them. But for you as a teacher, what has that? What's changed? What's made it more difficult? Yeah.
A big part of it for me personally is I have 2 little kids at home. So I'm trying to teach um, often with a toddler on my lap, and I teach high school. So the stuff that we're doing right now, like I submit lesson plans every day, but it's not mandatory right now. And so high schoolers don't do what's not mandatory. So I'm missing my students like crazy. That's my biggest thing. I get really, really attached to my students. And I think that that's something that high schoolers probably don't think about, is how attached their teachers get. It's not just your name or your number. Because we switch classes, I have 125 kids, but I know them and I love them and I miss them like crazy. And so it's actually been a little bit harder on me than I thought, because I'm very outgoing and I'm extroverted and I'm at home, and unless a student emails me or messages me, then I miss them and I worry about them and I wonder what they're doing and what kind of tea do they have today. And so that's been hard.
As you can hear, right? I feel you on that one, right?
Yes.
Trying to do things with small children around, and I feel the same way of just missing the kids, and we've got some semblance of similarities in our jobs, and I definitely don't, like, I enjoy teaching, but I didn't get into this because I love teaching. I do it because I love the kids and enjoy walking with them through the things that they're going through. And just over Zoom and text messaging and phone calls, it's just not the same.
Yep. And it feels like busy work. That's a big thing for teachers right now, I think, if kids care what their teachers feel like. We didn't do this so we could give you busy work, and that's what it feels like we're doing right now, is giving you busy work.
Yeah.
And most of us are adamantly against that.
Right.
So,
right.
But the state says, you're doing this.
That's right. You got to do what you're told. Right? But yeah, I feel on that sense too, of like, just from a Bible teaching standpoint, I love teaching scripture, and I love having Wednesday night times in our Sunday school classes and stuff, but so much of faith is relational, right? And when you are just focusing on like the Bible study, or like even these conversations, I've tried to switch to these where it's a little more conversational and like, what is God teaching you and me individually in our lives? It's still just very like teaching knowledge, head material, versus sitting down and working through, life with kids. And so I feel on that, it's definitely, none of this is what we hoped for when we signed up for this. So,
and a lot of it is body language. Knowing whether somebody understands something or has a question is body language. And if you can't see them or talk to them, then you don't know if they get it or if they care, or what you need to hit on some more. Yeah. So that's a big thing for me, is reading my kids sitting around the room and who's trying to pretend like they're not texting under their desk and
dancing, right?
And dancing, yeah.
Nice. Well, what do you feel like, either for you personally, or like you said, you're a mom of 2 small kids and a wife. So either you personally or within your family, how do you feel like God has been working in your life and in your faith during these last couple of months?
Okay, so I feel like God does things on a big scale that we don't see for a long time. And so to go backwards a little bit, for those of you that don't know, our whole last about year and a half has been chaos as far as church and all that kind of stuff. We came out of a split and we came to Rockford, and a lot changed that way. And I feel like God moved my heart in a big way in the last year. So when quarantine happened, honestly, I feel like he was like, I was setting you up. This is where I was moving you. Because I went from a very close family where I was always with my mom and dad and my siblings going to church, to all of us getting split up into different churches. And then I had a new family, you, Jake, and Sarah and Kathy and all of them. And so then I got this whole new support system that I never had before. And so that has been huge for me, is meeting with the girls, and then talking and seeing how that works. As far as our family, I feel like we were so much stronger heading into this, as far as we had to stop and depend on God really hard in the last, 18 months. And so when we got hammered with the quarantine, it was already second nature for us just to hit our knees and be like, all right, tell me what to do now. Where do we go from here? And so he's really built us up, as far as I was not built, in my opinion, to be a stay-at-home mom. I adore my children. They are fantastic. You guys know my girls. But I don't always have the patience for tantrums and being home all the time, not getting out. Or if we were home in the summertime, I'm a teacher, then we could go. We could go to the beach. We could go to grandma and grandpa's house. We could go and do. And so God has really forced me to look it up. This is what mothers have done forever. And there's lots and lots of stuff in the Bible about being a mom. And so that's been very eye-opening for me. And it's forced me just to actually sit back and, this is in God's hands.
Yeah.
I don't get to control this. I'm a teacher. I'm a mom. I like to control every aspect, and I can't. I don't have control over this. Yeah. And so that's been really good for me. Yeah. It's made me grow. And even, when you get to my age, you have to remember that you're always learning and you're always growing, and God's got something else for you to figure out. So
yeah. No, that's great. And I like what you had to say about how, looking back, almost 2 years now, and seeing how God was doing something back then that was painful and difficult, but how 2 years later you can see positive fruit from that in this situation, from something that happened so long ago. And I think for me personally, I'm reading through the book of Deuteronomy right now. And, I keep highlighting every time it says, remember, right? Remember. Because that's like 90% of what the book of Deuteronomy is about, is of Moses recapping for the people of Israel. This is what God has done for you and will continue to do for you. And as he kind of like sends them off into the promised land. And I think that's so relevant for us and for these kids, is when tragedy happens, we so quickly forget the positive things that God has done in our lives.
Even if it doesn't feel positive at the time.
Right.
It was a huge learning curve that we needed.
Yeah. And how God works through even the negative stuff to bring about change in our lives. So awesome.
I think this is going to be a big thing for God. Yeah. Getting us together with our families, and I think I see that. I feel that.
Yeah, I'm going to be really interested to see how things go from a family perspective, from a work perspective, from a school perspective, kind of in the fall, once things start to pick back up. I'd love to say that people are going to be more kind of laid back and more enjoyed time with their family and they want more of it. But I have the feeling that we might get a swing to the opposite, right? Or at least that's going to be the push on us, right? Is that, schools and teachers and coaches are going to go, all right, we had 6 months off, time to play catch up, so it'll be interesting to see kind of what that does for society as a whole. But like you said, I think God is, I know God is sovereign and powerful, and I know he'll use this to grow our faith and to hopefully grow many people into a relationship with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's one of those famous things. If I had more time,
right,
I would read my Bible. I would do a devotion.
Yeah.
Hopefully they have the time.
Yeah. So. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing with us, Liz. Best of luck as you continue to try and teach and guide your kids. I know that's difficult. So praying that you find creative ways to keep them engaged and interact with them. So.
Yeah, I have a light at the end of my tunnel. My school year is over in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So Ellie's is over in 3, so then we can just do the summer thing.
Yeah.
Even in quarantine, it takes one layer off, and so we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Good. Well, thanks again, Liz, and we'll look forward to talking again soon.
Sweet. Bye.